Alright, episode 4 of Life is Strange is finally here. What are the choices we gotta deal with? The fourth episode of Life is Strange is where the plot starts picking up immensely. We start right where we left off at the end of episode 3, in an alternate timeline where Chloe is a quadriplegic. Really hard-touching stuff, and especially when we get to the critical choice, where it challenges you on your virtues and vices. The scene in the ultimate timeline where we meet Chloe is by far one of the stronger scenes in this entire game. It's Max and Chloe spending one more night together as friends, since they've been estranged for quite a while. And this is where my idea of Chloe was intentionally made to be a certain way in the other timeline on purpose, to add contrast to this version of Chloe in this timeline. At heart, they're both the same girl. Really touching and emotional stuff where you don't really do much in these scenes, except, find a videotape and watch a movie with her, and then the next day, boom. And the adage of seeing Chloe at her worst in the other timeline to Chloe as she is now in the normal timeline gives us a type of new perspective on this character. As much as I was against it, I opted to help Chloe end her suffering, mostly because I already saw where this was going. Unretcon the retcon. So now we're back in present time, where Chloe is still a bitch, and there's a really nice touch with the timeline here, where it's a day ahead, and life continued like nothing happened. Of course, now it's time to start getting some answers. So Max and Chloe go to the boys' dorm, where they try to find incriminating evidence on Crazy Nathan. Which they do find, but Nathan himself doesn't really appreciate that much.
You're such a nosy bitch, Max!
Stop right there, Nathan.
Make me, ho!
Next critical choice. Let Warren continue to beat the shit out of Nathan, or get him off, and one of these choices lets Nathan keep his gun. And of course, Nathan Prescott. Is he innocent or guilty? We don't know. We'll have to watch the next episode to find out, because this is getting intense. Next up, Frank's house. We're just visiting people that just love our company.
Calm down, Frank. Let's just talk.
Don't you ever tell me what to do. Get it, bitch? Get it?
This is where all your investigation skills concerning Frank start to come together. Did you take that money from last episode? Give it to Frank so he's not going to be pissed off. You shot at Frank back in episode 2. Well, this first encounter with him is probably going to go very poorly. But however, you have rewind power, so you can shape and mold this investigation any way you can. Number 1, make sure Chloe isn't trigger happy. Number 2, make sure Frank closes the door so his dog doesn't bite your lady balls off. Number 2, again, don't imply that you've been inside Frank's house. Number 2, once more, you might want to go back and recap on your choices concerning Frank. And if you do all that right, no one has to get shot or get mortally wounded and starts being out for revenge. Now, in my opinion, this is a whole lot better than the whole critical choice factor that this game is offering. Just talk your way around your investigation skills. At this point, it's about the time you have to start using your brain and put all the pieces together. Find out all the facts and line them up. By the power of Frank, Nathan, and David, we find the dark room. And of course, if you pay attention to some key numbers in your investigation, this part of the game will go swimmingly. Well, until you actually get in the dark room. By far the best part of this game is the Vortex Club scene, because it has a lot of energy going onto it and a lot of things going on at once. It's also the resolution to many character trees in this story. And we spend a lot of time in this episode talking about Victoria and what type of person she is. Or at least you get to talk about that if you saved Kate from suicide. Seriously, look at these numbers. And if you do your button prompts right, then you and Victoria can have a mutual understanding and maybe even become friends. Also, you get to save Alyssa one more time. Right before a bad thing happens. Oh boy. So yeah, actual spoilers for the plot now. Rachel Ambers is dead. She was buried underneath the junkyard. Victoria is the next target, hence why Nathan is spending a whole bunch of time with her. And B, Nathan is not the raincoat killer. Also, double moons. See what I mean when I say this plot starts to pick up? This, however, raises up a whole bunch of other questions. Is Nathan still somewhat responsible for the disappearance of these girls? Or is he being framed? Was Victoria actually meant to be the next victim? Or was it all a cunning ruse? And lastly, how is our relationship with Frank and David factoring into this, as well as that kiss? I guess we'll just have to meet again for the final chapter of Life is Strange. Also, Chloe's dead. She was shot in the head.